hours, the House opens controversial hearings on radical Islam in America. The man leading the hearing is Congressman Peter King of New York. He says al-Qaeda elements are in the U.S. recruiting and that the Muslim community isn't helping police like it should. King talked to CNN a short time ago.
I believe people who are on the ground, people who reflect what's happening. I tell you, in my conversation, I've been dealing with this issue now for 9.5 years. Law enforcement people invariably tell me they do not receive the cooperation that they need. I've seen it on Long Island in my own district. I know what has happened in some of these mosques. And you will hear these are people on the ground, these people living there. They're the ones who endure this day in and day out. And to me, it's going to set a very good picture for the American people. The Democrats want to bring on their witness. That's fine. I'm also inviting Congressman Keith Ellison, who disagrees with me completely on this issue. I've invited him to testify.
But a survey of Muslim Americans found that mosques basically help make Muslims better, more engaged Americans. Karam Dana of Harvard University, he led that survey. Hi, Karam. Thanks so much for joining me. When you first heard about these hearings, what was your reaction?
Well, I was actually pretty disappointed because our findings actually show the total opposite of that. In fact, we've conducted the largest survey of Muslims in the United States, the Muslim American Public Opinion Survey, and we actually found, contrary to what Congressman King suggests, that actually mosques do in fact make people more participatory in the American political system. Interestingly enough, we found that actually basically those who don't even participate in mosque-related activities to begin with, they're 77% believe, 77% of the sample believe that they are in fact the teachings of Islam are actually very compatible with the political system of the United States. With the effect of the mosque, in fact, that percentage jumps to 95%. This is a 53% increase. So as it stands, our data supports this finding, and there's a very close association between basically those who actually participate in mosque-related activities and their participation in the American political system. This survey is again, please.
Thank you, but I was going to actually jump in because part of that survey you talk a lot about in an op-ed that you wrote for CNN.com, and part of that you said that while there's a popularized idea that Muslims are radicalized in mosques, you say that overwhelmingly you found that mosques help Muslims integrate into U.S. society. But to be fair, Congressman King isn't necessarily concerned with integration. He's very much concerned with radicalization, and his claim is that Muslim leaders aren't standing up strongly enough against it. Let's listen to another a bit of what he said, and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Sure.
I would never question anyone's religious beliefs. You will not hear a word from me about the Quran or any of those issues. Muslims are proud people. They have a very proud religion. I am not questioning that at all. But what I am saying is that there are people in the community who are not fully cooperating, and I'm saying that the victims of that are not just the American community at large, but also Muslim Americans in particular. And my witnesses tomorrow, 2 of them will be Muslim Americans. 1 will be an African American whose son was radicalized and converted to Islam, and they will describe the situation in their community, how the radicalization is going on, and how when they went to officials, when they went to imams, they were threatened, they were told not to be made public when investigation.
So you see there that Mr. Congressman King isn't speaking out against the religion, and he says he went to great lengths to say that by and large, overwhelmingly, the Muslim American community are very good people. Can you agree with what he said?
Well, I must say that basically, why is it, for example, in the late 1990s that someone like, Eric Rudolph, who basically, out of a religious belief, he started bombing anti-abortion, he was bombing abortion clinics out of his religious belief. My question is, why is it that no congressional hearings were actually held for that particular person who actually was doing it out of his religious belief, basically? But my really concern here is that, the Muslim American are actually being very specifically targeted in this particular context. And this is actually consistent with various communities, from the German Catholics to Italian, Irish Catholics, and the Jewish American community over the past few decades. I mean, the interesting thing is that we have a memory of 10 years, but we have to put that in a larger context. I mean, consistent with other literature that is out there, scholarly literature, that is independent literature, that looks at religious institutions, from churches to synagogues, etc. The works of Eric McDaniels, for example, the work of Ted Jelen, etc. You find that actually those religious institutions are actually provide a very important role in fostering the participation of those who believe in that particular religion. And I must say that why is it that Muslims are actually being singled out in this particular case? And I think it's honestly un-American.
Well, Mr. Dana, the conversation is far from over. Lots of protests, lots of controversy, a lot of people talking about what is going on here, and we'll continue this conversation with you. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
You can read more about the study that we've discussed here and Karam Dana's take on tomorrow's hearings on CNN.com. If you want to read up on that, it's actually great reading.